Picture this. A bank robbery is already in motion, alarms screaming, panic everywhere, and Jason is inside holding a duffel bag full of stolen cash. But everything changes in a single second, and one thing turns the entire robbery into something no one survives the same way. The last thing Jason remembered was the sound of the vault alarm screaming through the bank like it was tearing reality apart. Red lights flashed across polished marble floors. People were shouting. Someone was crying. His own heartbeat felt louder than everything else in the room. He wasn't thinking about money anymore. He wasn't even thinking about escape. In that moment, everything had collapsed into pure instinct. Run. Survive. Get out. But survival didn't come. Instead, the world ended in a single instant he didn't even understand. A deafening explosion tore through the air. Jason didn't immediately register pain. There was no clear thought like, "I've been shot." It was more like reality itself had been interrupted. One moment the world was whole, and the next it was fractured into pieces he couldn't connect anymore. His vision snapped violently to one side. His body lost balance instantly, as if the floor had disappeared beneath him. And before his brain could even begin to process what had happened, he was already falling. The bullet entered his head faster than thought itself. It didn't feel like a clean injury. It felt like an explosion inside his skull, not from outside force alone, but from something detonating within him. The skull cracked under extreme pressure, and in less than a millisecond, the bullet tore through soft brain tissue, sending a violent shockwave through everything inside. Jason didn't feel pain at first. What he felt was pressure. Crushing, expanding, overwhelming pressure, like his entire head was filling with something too large to contain. It wasn't localized, it was everywhere at once. His senses didn't fade slowly, they broke. Sound turned into distortion. Light stretched unnaturally. The world stopped behaving like reality. His ears filled with a sharp, endless ringing that drowned everything else. It wasn't just noise. It was everything collapsing into static. Jason hit the floor hard, but even impact felt delayed, like it belonged to someone else. His body was still moving, but he wasn't controlling it. His arm twitched once, then stopped responding. His fingers felt distant, like they didn't belong to him anymore. It was as if his brain and body had been unplugged from each other, leaving him trapped inside something he could no longer operate. He tried to breathe, but even that felt confusing. Not painful, just wrong. Automatic functions were still happening, but they were becoming less coordinated by the second. His thoughts began breaking apart into fragments. He couldn't form complete ideas anymore, just pieces, flashing images, random memories, confusion without structure. A childhood street, a voice laughing, bright sunlight. Then the bank floor again. Nothing connected properly. At this stage, what was happening inside Jason's head was not a single moment of death. It was a rapid breakdown of systems that normally work together to create awareness. The bullet had already caused immediate physical destruction in less than a millisecond. But what came after was even more critical: the collapse of brain communication. Tiny blood vessels were damaged, neural pathways were disrupted, and pressure inside the skull began rising because the brain has no space to expand. Jason was not fully conscious anymore, but he was not completely gone either. He was stuck in a failing state where parts of the brain were still firing, but the system as a whole was breaking apart. This is why his experience was not smooth or clear. It was fragmented. His vision did not turn off instantly. Instead, it started shrinking from the edges inward. This happens because the brain stops processing peripheral information first when oxygen and blood flow become unstable. That is why severe brain injuries often create tunnel vision, not because the eyes fail, but because the brain cannot interpret full visual data anymore. Sound also became unstable. Some noises disappeared completely, while others became distorted or delayed. This is due to uneven breakdown in auditory processing areas of the brain. Nothing was clean or stable anymore, only partial signals reaching a system that could no longer organize them. What did not happen here is important. Jason was not watching his life like a movie. He was not thinking in clear sentences. He was not calmly observing anything. He tried to understand what was wrong, but no complete thought could form. This is where confusion replaces fear. Not because the situation becomes calm, but because the brain systems that generate structured thought and emotion are breaking down. His sense of body ownership also started fading. His arms and legs no longer felt fully connected to him. Even breathing felt automatic and distant, no longer something he controlled. As oxygen levels dropped and neural activity continued failing, Jason's awareness collapsed further. But not instantly. It was a gradual reduction. The brain stopped building a complete picture of reality. Instead, it only processed fragments, light, movement, sound, without meaning or connection. Importantly, there was no clarity or life review, no structured thoughts, no final understanding. Outside, the world was still active, shouting, movement, chaos. But Jason's brain could no longer assemble it into anything meaningful. Even pain was not experienced in the way people imagine. The brain itself has no pain receptors. Instead, what remained was disconnection, the slow loss of meaningful awareness. Thought itself was nearly gone, not replaced, just fading until it could no longer form. Even fear disappeared, not because of peace, but because there was no system left to sustain it. Jason did not experience death as a single moment. There was no clear line between alive and gone. Instead, awareness reduced step by step, perception, meaning, thought, then finally experience itself. The world did not go dark, it simply stopped being constructed. And when there is no brain activity left to interpret reality, there is nothing left to experience at all. Jason didn't experience death as a moment or a realization. There was no final thought, no darkness arriving, no feeling of, I am gone. Awareness simply degraded until nothing could be processed anymore. When the brain stops constructing reality, there is no experience of ending, only the absence of experience itself. What should we explain next? Drowning? Freezing? Or radiation poisoning? Subscribe to Last Sensation for more videos about the final experiences of the human body.